Hello, hello, hello. Alexa, what time is it?
It's 2 p.m.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you guys for joining me here at Audrey's Reading Area. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys know I have these fun and exciting books to read to you guys. I have Tuesdays are what? Do y'all remember? Yeah. Educational Tuesdays. So
Here's something I found on the web.
now,
According to
Alexa,
stackoverflow.com,
stop. Now I'm trying to do books of different cultures. So on this Inspirational Tuesday, I have a book, Fridays with Miss Melange. In Haiti, they're talking about the history of Haiti. Fridays with Miss Melange, Haiti. It's a book by Jenny De La Cruz and it's illustrated by Danko Herrera. Danko Herrera. I'm going to read you the back first. It says, the students love Fridays because every week, Miss Melange teaches them world history and current events. The exciting story of Haiti's tumultuous history keeps children engaged while the questions promote critical thinking skills. This story demonstrates the importance of developing a strong self-identity, while the diversity of characters in the classroom allows all children to identify with the characters in the story. Once again, Fridays with Miss Melange, Haiti. Jenny De La Cruz, illustrations by Danko Herrera. This is Nia. She loves to learn and explore. Today, she's going to learn an important story in world history. Nia rushed to school because all the sixth graders looked forward to seeing Miss Melange. She teaches history and current events every Friday. On this Friday, Miss Melange had placed a napkin with a cube of sugar and a grape on each desk. And they're wondering, I wonder what's going on. Me too. Miss Melange asked, which is sweeter? Leo said, the sugar. Great. Eat the sugar cube first and then the grape, Miss Melange instructed. Leo whined, ew, my grape is sour. This one here is saying, I should have had breakfast. I should have eaten breakfast. Teacher says, yes, that's right. Now, does anyone know anything about Haiti's past? Over here it says, Miss Melange says, on its own, the grape is sweet, but it tastes sour compared to the sweetness of the sugar. Today, we're going to explore how this analogy relates to the history of Haiti. Does anyone know what an analogy is? Emma asked, is an analogy like a clever way of comparing two ideas? And that's why, I guess that's where she says that's right. Now, does anyone know anything about Haiti's past? I use analogies when I write my poetry. Okay, so to be clear, an analogy is a clever way of comparing two different ideas. And this is the Haitian flag. Haiti was the first free Black republic and the only nation to form a successful slave revolution, says Jean. Correct? But sadly, it is now one of the most exploited and as a result, poorest countries in the Western world. In our analogy, the sugar represents the successful revolution. Now think about what the grape by itself represents and what the sour taste of the grape after eating the sugar represents. May the grape, he says, this is Jean. He's saying maybe the grape is freedom. Freedom is sweet too, right? I get it. The sourness of the grapes represents Haiti's exploitation after gaining freedom. The sour after the sweet. Does anyone know where Haiti is? Miss Melange asked. Jean answered, in the Caribbean. Yes, it's on the western end of the island of Hispaniola. Jean, your parents are from Haiti, aren't they? And just so you guys know, that's the island of the Dominican Republic. So the Dominican Republic and Haiti share the same island. Says, yes, we speak French, Haitian, Creole. French, Haitian, Creole, Jean said. Or Jean. Jean is Jean. Haitian Creole is a mix of French, West African, Taino, Spanish, and Portuguese. She says, wow, all those languages in one? Neat. Miss Melange said, Christopher Columbus landed on the island in 1492 and named it Hispaniola, or Little Spain. A group of people called the Taino were already living there when Columbus arrived. People were already living there when Christopher Columbus arrived. What? Another land Columbus found? Seems like he's the guy that claimed every country. Yeah, I heard he landed on Puerto Rico, Cuba, and Dominicana too. Or Dominica. Claiming every country. Claiming. Before Columbus came, the Taino also lived in Cuba, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, the Europeans killed about 3 million Taino when they colonized the islands, said Miss Melange, or Melange. Isn't that genocide? Leo asked. You are correct, said Miss Melange. Why did the Europeans kill so many people? What did the Taino do wrong? Miss Melange responded, the Taino did nothing wrong. The Taino did nothing wrong, Scarlett. They simply had resources other countries wanted. Countless Taino starved to death because they were forced to work in the mines rather than to work on their farms. The Taino who survived became slaves, just like the Africans of the transatlantic slave trade. She says, just like my Native American ancestors, they also died from diseases the Europeans brought with them, like the flu and smallpox. Even more died fighting the Europeans. As the Spanish ships traveled home with their valuable cargo of gold, copper, and crops, French pirates seized some of the Spanish vessels and robbed them, Miss Melange said. Pirates actually existed in real life? From then on, the Spanish and French fought constantly. Miss Melange continued. Eventually in 1697, Spain and France signed a treaty to end the fighting. France claimed the western part of Hispaniola and called it Saint Domingue, or Dominican Republic, called it Saint Domingue, while the Spanish claimed the eastern part and called it Santo Domingo. Oh, Saint Domingue. It just seems kind of weird. Saint Domingue. While the Spanish claimed the eastern part and called it Santo Domingo. That part is the Dominican Republic. So this is a picture of the island. This part is the French part. This part is the Spanish part. This is Haiti now, and this is Dominican Republic. They share an island. Does anyone know what the sad source of France's wealth was then? Asked Miss Melange. Was it slavery? Asked Nia. That's terrible. Correct, Nia. France was active in the transatlantic slave trade. Many African slaves died within 3 years of capture due to the cruel plantation system in Saint Domingue. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Those that died were simply replaced with more Africans. But once in a while, a rare few purchased their freedom and became known as free blacks or free people of color. How brutal. Miss Melange said, Scarlett, not all of the French agreed with slavery, but for those who did, they saw themselves as different from and better than the Africans in Taino. That's why we must remember there was never any excuse that justifies the mistreatment of others, no matter how different they may be. Now, can anyone tell me who Toussaint Louverture was? She's raising her hand. Slavery is so horrible. Why in the world would France do that? So who was Toussaint Louverture? Jean said, Louverture led the slaves and free people of color when they declared their freedom from slavery, right? Right, Jean. By 1791, the slaves and free blacks finally felt hope when Toussaint Louverture, a former slave, formed an army in a successful revolution against the French. However, it didn't end well for him, Miss Melange said. And John is asking, didn't something terrible happen to him? That's right, Jean. In 1802, Napoleon Bonaparte, a French general, tricked and arrested Louverture, who then died in prison. Miss Melange replied, the slaves and free people of color didn't give up. They rose up again under a new leader, Jean-Jacques Dessalines. I know I'm not saying it right. Dessalines. Wow, what did the Haitians do after he died? That's awful. That's the children's comments. Dessalines. The army fought against France, Spain, and England for 12 long years. The Dessalines finally declared independence on January 1st, 1804, and changed the country's name to Haiti. Haiti was the original Taino name for the island, and it means land of high mountains. Haiti means land of high mountains, explained Miss Melange. And the student is commenting, how in the world did the slaves and free people of color find the courage to fight for so long? Miss Melange said, that's a great question, Nia. For one, the slaves and the free blacks outnumbered the French on the island. This gave them an advantage. Nia jumped in, but 12 years is a really long time. You're right, Nia. It's about as long as you've all been alive, Miss Melange agreed. But another reason they had the courage to keep fighting was because even though most of them were slaves, they had held on tightly to their African and Taino roots. They remembered who they were so they could unite. They came together and kept fighting because their shared identity was so strong. Student commenting, I guess the way we see ourselves and the connection we have to our roots is so powerful it can get us through anything, even war or revolution. After Haiti became independent, Dessalines wrote the country's first constitution. It was the first in the world to recognize that all people are created equal despite their race. It was revolutionary because it granted freedom to any slave from anywhere in the world that arrived on the shores of Haiti, the teacher explained. The students are commenting, awesome, and finally. I wonder what happened after Haiti became independent. And another student's commenting, uh-oh, there's the homework. Those are the students' comments. Just then the bell rang. Miss Melange said, don't worry, we'll continue part 2 of our lesson next week. I want you to get a head start by researching what happened after Haiti gained its independence. And that's when she says, uh-oh, there's the homework. Today, Nia learned that our self-identity and connection to our roots are so powerful, it can impact not only the course of our lives, but also that of generations to come. Wow. And it has questions for reflections. The first question, what part of the story stood out to you? Second question, what questions do you still have? And question number 3, how did you feel about the story and why? And why? So we have a glossary here, which I'm going to read to you. An analogy is a comparison of two things based on a similar aspect. Exploit, exploit, to unfairly use for one's advantage. Genocide, the deliberate and systematic destruction of a racial, political, or cultural group. Genocide. Revolutionary, causing or bringing about a significant or fundamental change. Transatlantic slave trade, a segment of the global slave trade that transported between 10 and 12 million Africans across the Atlantic Ocean to the Americas from the 16th to the 19th century. Yes, this book was very informative. Fridays with Miss Melange. It's about Haiti. Thank you guys so much for joining me here at Audrey's Reading Area. I enjoy reading these books to you, although I think I pronounced a couple of those words wrong. I gotta learn how to pronounce these words in Creole because of my Haitian background. My mom's Jamaican, my father was Haitian. But I thank you again for joining me here at Audrey's Reading Area. And if you're enjoying all these books, please just hit subscribe. Share all my videos to everyone. Thank you so much.